Despite the fact that this deck has the word math in it, Mathmech is surprisingly a simple deck to play and is still one of the best decks on Master Duel. In fact, if real math was this simple, I might have passed high school. But instead, here I am, talking about a card game marketed for children. That depressing thought aside, this deck is mad good, and today I'm not only going to show you how to play them, but also discuss the build that I've been having success with, so let's jump into it. At this point, I imagine most of you know what the Mathmech cards do, or at least have some kind of idea. So I don't want to waste your time by going through the card by card. Instead, I'll broadly talk about the build up and running. So we're on 7 1-card starters in the form of Circular, Firewall Defenser, and Dotscrapper, which is more of a pseudo 1-card starter that you generally want to use as extension with Dark Fluid. To compensate for this, this build is running 12 pseudo 1.5 card starters. Cynet Mining at small world will generally be used to search for Circular, who is the best 1-card starter in the game, so they're worth negging on. Parallax Seed is full combo if you draw it with any other normal summon. This normal summon can even be a hand trap, believe it or not. Addition and Subtraction are very similar when drawn with another level 4 and can build somewhat of a weaker board if your opener only contains one of them, even if that one's a hand trap. Sigma Balls on the other hand can only be paired with another level 4. Generally you don't want to see this card in your hand, but it's not the end of the world. Nabla is about the only brick in the deck, but you need to play it to combo off when you've already used your normal summon on something that isn't Diameter specifically. You'll see what I mean when I get into the combos. Next up, we're running 13 hand traps, 16 if you count the Call by the Grave and Crossout. Nothing much to discuss here other than the Lonely Nibiru being both a crossout target and a small walled bridge. I'd play more hand traps if I could, I just struggled to make it the place. In the extra deck, you'll notice that I'm not playing the Singularity package. While I do acknowledge that the combo that makes it is exceptional, the rest of the deck is good enough without it. So I find it hard to justify the extra gems that you would need to spend on it, as well as cutting down on some of your hand traps to play more extenders that make the combo more reliable. I know a lot of you are fuming in the comments right now, you'd be right to do so, but I do want this deck to be as accessible as possible, and sometimes cutting back on 2 to 3 ultra rares makes all that difference. However, if you would like to see that combo, let me know in the comments and I'll get straight to it. Otherwise, the extra deck is more or less what you'd expect from Mathmech. I am playing Mereologic Aggregator since it is a secondary negate of Terahertz, and I am playing Almiraj to convert my hand traps into Cyberse monsters for those clunky hands. Some people are cutting this for Link Spider. The advantage of doing this is that if you get Nibiru, you have an Exceed in your hand, so you can link off the and if you have an Exceed in your hand, you just link off the token, summon 2 Exceeds to your side of the field, and combo through. However, I find that these hands tend to be few and far in between, so I prefer to play Almiraj for consistency's sake. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the combos. Mathmech Circular is not only the best 1-card starter in your deck, it is the best 1-card starter in the game. It does everything and builds a crazy board. Let me show you how exactly. So you'll start off by activating Circular's effect. You want to send Mathmech Sigma to the graveyard, summon Circular to your side of the field, let's be safe by putting in defense position. We'll then activate the grave effect of Sigma to summon itself to our side of the field, trigger Circular's effect to add Superfactoral from deck to hand. From here, you'll want to make an Alembertion using 2 monsters on your side of the field. And then you want to activate Alembertion's effect, detaching both materials to add a Mathmech card from your deck to your hand. We'll be adding Diameter. You want to normal summon the Diameter to your side of the field, activate its effect to summon out Circular from grave. Then you want to link off into Splash Mage using Alembertion plus either one of your Mathmech monsters. In this case, I'm going for Circular because I kind of want to summon the Splash Mage to the left zone, so I want to free up the zone directly underneath it. Then you want to activate Splash Mage's effect to summon out Circular back to your side of the field. And then you want to make a Link Decoder using either the Diameter or the Circle. From this position, you want to link off into a Transcode Talker using your 2 links. Make sure you summon the Transcode Talker to a zone where the zone beneath it is open. the grave effect of Link Decoder is going to activate, allowing you to summon it back to your side of the field. You then want to activate Transcode Talker's effect to summon out Splash Mage back to your side of the field. From here, you need to make a terahertz using the Transcode Talker, Diameter, and Link Decoder. And then you want to activate its effect to send Dotscrapper from deck to graveyard. Dotscrapper hits the grave, its effect will activate, summon itself to your side of the field, and from here you can make a Heatsoul using the Splash Mage and the Dotscrapper. Summon it to one of the zones that are available, and then you can activate Heatsoul's effect to get yourself a free draw. Well, not so free, you're paying 1,000, but life points is life points, it's free. And from here you'll set the Superfactoral face down and pass off to your opponent. So what exactly does this board facilitate? Well, Heatsoul's effect is a quick effect, so during your opponent's turn you can pay another 1,000 life points and draw another card. You'll then be using Dark Fluid's effect to send your Desavewurm to the graveyard, which is a spell and trap negate. Superfactoral is one hell of a card, which is multiple pieces of disruption in itself. Its effect reads that when you activate it, you can summon 3 Mathmech monsters from your graveyard to your side of the field, and then immediately synchro or exceed summoning. We will be exceed summoning to summon out Laplacian, and the Laplacian's effect is on summon you can detach up to 3 materials from this card and then apply these effects in sequence. So first effect is to send a monster on your opponent's side of the field to the graveyard, non-targeting. Send a spell trap on their side of the field to the graveyard, again non-targeting. And the third is to rip a card from their hand. If that doesn't sound good enough, because it'll be summoned using our good friend Diameter, it is also treated as an Omni Negate for the turn. This is why this deck is absolutely crazy. But let me show you another combo with Mathmech Circular that I generally tend to go for. Your second Mathmech Circular combo requires you just again to have Mathmech Circular in your hand, and I'll explain why I generally prefer this combo over the one I just showed you. So like before, you can activate Circular's effect in hand to send Sigma to the graveyard as cost. You'll then use Sigma's effect to summon itself back to your side of the field, and then you'll activate Circular's effect. In this case, we drew the Superfactoral, but you would be going for the Superfactoral. You then want to overlay into an Alembertion. So for the most part, this combo is the same, as you guys will see as we go through it, but we know you can just treat this as a refresher as we do it. We'll then activate Alembertion's effect to detach 2 to add Diameter from deck to hand. Once we have Diameter, you want to normal summon it to your side of the field, and then activate its effect to summon back out Circular. Link off into a Splash Mage using Alembertion plus a Mathmech. And then activate Splash Mage's effect to summon back out either or. In this case, we're going for Diameter. And then go into a Link Decoder. Once the Link Decoder hits the field, you'll then want to make a Heatsoul using your 2 links. Once the Heatsoul hits the field, you want to trigger the grave effect of Link Decoder to summon itself back to your side of the field and activate Heatsoul's effect. So this is where the combo starts to differ. We'll get the draw of Heatsoul, summon back out the Link Decoder to our side of the field, and from here we are going into a Dark Fluid. From here, you guys are probably thinking, why would I say that this combo is better when you are giving up on the Heatsoul, which can be used to draw a card during your opponent's turn too? Well, the simple answer is that we now free up the Dark Fluid's effect so that it can be activated during both players' turn to send cards that actually negate. So in this case, during our turn, we'll be sending the Desavewurm to our graveyard, and then during our opponent's turn, we can use its effect to send Mereologic Aggregator to the graveyard, which is a card that can be used to negate a face up card on the field. The way the chain works is a bit weird, so you can't send Aggregator to the graveyard in the middle of a chain. It has to be sent first to negate a card that's already face up on the field. So you can think of it as a card that can be used to exclusively negate ignition effects. The good thing about it though is it isn't limited to monsters. It can be used on any card and it negates the effect for the turn. This I find to be a bit better than the Heatsoul, because with Heatsoul, in order to get more interruption, you need the Heatsoul to draw 2 hand traps, or at least a hand trap during your opponent's turn to justify getting it, justify going for that line. This is a bit more consistent because again, we're only playing 13 hand traps, so the math just doesn't add up. Then you'll set your Superfactoral to complete your combo. You guys can decide which one you prefer. This is the one I generally go for. Despite the limitations on Mathmech Circular, which says that you can only attack with 1 monster the turn you activate this effect, this card can be used to OTK. This is how you'd go about it. You'd activate Circular's effect, you'd send Sigma from your deck to the graveyard, summon Circular to your side of the field, you'd activate Sigma's effect from grave to summon itself to your side of the field. Circular's effect is going to activate. In this case, you can go for either the Superfactoral if you feel as though you're going to get stopped, then you at least have follow-up for the next turn. Or you can use Equation to put another piece of extension on your side of the field. I would say since you're going for the OTK, the Equation is the safer of the two to go for. From here, you'll want to summon out the Alembertion. Alembertion's effect is going to activate to summon out, to grab Diameter from deck to hand. Once you have a Diameter, normal summon the lad to your side of the field, activate its effect to summon back out either of your Mathmech monsters. And then from here, you're going to go into an Update Jammer. So for those of you who don't know, Update Jammer has this effect that if it is used as link material, the monster that it's summoned can attack twice during the battle phase of this turn. Now, of course, I'm showing you this combo one going first, so its effect is not going to proc, but this is something you just need to keep in mind. It can be used as many times as this card is sent to the graveyard as link material. So we'll be using Update Jammer plus Alembertion to summon out Transcode Talker to our side of the field. From here, normally the Update Jammer's effect would activate and you would just click yes on it to give your Transcode Talker 2 attacks in case you get interrupted for some reason. You'd then activate Transcode Talker's effect to summon back the Update Jammer from your graveyard. And you will then link off into Accesscode Talker using the Update Jammer and the Transcode Talker on your side of the field. Once Accesscode Talker hits our field, we will then activate its effect and the effect of the Update Jammer to allow Accesscode Talker to attack twice. The way you want to sequence this chain is to use Update Jammer as chain link 1 and Accesscode Talker as chain link 2. The reason for this is because doing this not only chain blocks the Update Jammer so your opponent can't negate it, but Accesscode Talker has this effect that says your opponent cannot activate cards in response to its effect. So it perfectly blocks the chain. So you'll be activating Accesscode Talker's effect. You want to target the link 3. It'll gain 3000 attack, it can attack twice, and you can destroy 2 cards on your opponent's side of the field to make that OTK easier. Pretty good. Let's see what our good friend Defensor can do. So this combo shows you how you can get to the same board, but this time we'll be using Firewall Defenser as our starter. So we'll start off by normal summoning the Defensor, and then we want to link it off into a Linguriboh. Once Linguriboh hits the field, the grave effect of Defensor will activate, allowing us to special summon a Firewall from our deck. We'll be special summoning our Guardian. Special summon Guardian in defense position, it has a big ass, but not much else. Then you'll want to link off using your Guardian and your Linguriboh to make a Splash Mage. Another grave effect will trigger. This time it'll be Guardian's effect to summon itself back to our side of the field, but it'll be banished when it leaves the field. We'll then use Splash Mage's effect to summon back out the Defensor, so we have another level 4 on our side of the field, and 2 4s making Alembertion. So once Alembertion hits the field, we will be using its effect to search, you guessed it, our one and only Circular. Kind of the reason why this deck can't be played in the TCG anymore, because without Circular you are kind of boned. So yeah, we'll be searching Circular, and then we will be activating the lad's effect. Except this time we won't be sending Sigma to the graveyard, we'll be sending our brick that I spoke about in the discussion, Nabla. Circular will then summon to our side of the field. We'll then activate Alembertion's second effect to tribute itself to special summon out the Nabla from our grave to our side of the field. We'll then trigger Circular's effect, and this time we'll only be searching Superfactoral when going first. We'll then activate Nabla's effect to tribute itself and to special summon a Cyberse monster, or else a Mathmech from our deck. You can tribute to Cyberse. So we'll be summoning our Diameter to our side of the field. This is how we're just summoning Diameter to get it into rotation to serve as a negate for the Superfactoral. And we will then be overlaying, what am I talking about? Not overlaying. From here, we need to do some stuff, and we need to start with a Link Decoder. Doesn't matter which one you use, but just make sure that you make it. Link Decoder will hit the field. From here, you can either go for your Heatsoul line or your Transcode line. In this case, I'm going for the Heatsoul line, so I'll be using these two to summon out the lad to outside of the field. And then we will want to trigger the grave effect of Link Decoder to summon itself to outside of the field, and we might as well just chain the effect of Heatsoul now to get a draw. We got our draw, summon the Link Decoder to a zone the Heatsoul points to, and then from here we're going into our one and only Dark Fluid Terahertz. So this is more or less the same board that we established using Circular. The only difference is that we also got a Firewall Defenser in our graveyard, which means that our Dark Fluid is protected from destruction once next turn. So yeah, we'll then activate Dark Fluid's effect, and you want to send Desavewurm to the graveyard for your Spell Trap Negate, set your Superfactoral, and pass turn. During your opponent's turn, when the situation presents itself, you're going to activate Dark Fluid's effect, send Aggregator to the graveyard, negate a card on the field, ideally an initiation effect. Let's take a look at some more combos. Like I mentioned, Dotscrapper is a one card starter, but it's a pseudo starter in the sense that it doesn't get you the same board as the other two cards do, but it's still good enough considering it's a one card starter. So we'll normal summon the Dotscrapper, and from here you want to link it off to either the Almiraj or the Linguriboh. If I'm going first, I'm probably go for the Linguriboh so that I have the Almiraj if I need to convert any of my hand traps into Cyberse during my next plays. So Linguriboh will summon, the grave effect of Dotscrapper will trigger to summon itself to outside of the field. From here you'll be linking off into a Splash Mage using the two Cyberse monsters you control. This is the great thing about Dotscrapper, because when it summons from grave, it doesn't banish itself, it just goes back to grave. It does have a hard once per turn limit on it, but I mean that's okay. We'll then activate Splash Mage's effect, summon back the Dotscrapper to outside of the field. You need to summon out the Link Decoder to the zone the Splash Mage points to. I mean, like we can summon it anywhere else, but you get the idea. From here you want to go into Transcode Talker exactly, linking off your two monsters. Then you want to activate the grave effect of Link Decoder to summon it to any zone the Transcode Talker does not point to. You can activate Transcode Talker's effect to summon back out the Splash Mage. And from here you can make a Terahertz. So yeah, we don't have Superfactoral on our side of the field, but we still have two negates, because we'll activate Dark Fluid's effect to send the Desavewurm to the graveyard, which is a Spell Trap Negate. And then during our opponent's turn, we have Mereologic Aggregator to negate a face-up card. Generally, the way the chain works with this is that it can only negate ignition effects. So make sure that you send this to the graveyard before your opponent has the chance to activate the effect of the card on field. So with that at the side, I think we need to take a look at some 1.5 card combos. So let's jump into that. Looking at the 1.5 card starters, remember how I said Parallel Exceed plus any other card that can be normal summoned is full combo? This is what I mean. In this case, we'll be using Parallel Exceed and Effect Veiler as our starters. So we'll normal summon the Effect Veiler, and you want to link it off into an Almiraj. This is exactly what I meant when I said Almiraj converts your hand traps into Cyberse monsters. In this case, Cyberse links, which is even better. So then we'll activate the Exceeds effect to summon itself to the zone the Almiraj is pointing to. We'll then activate Exceeds effect to summon out the other from deck. And when you have the two, you're obviously going to make an Alembertion using the two of them, summon itself to your side of the field, and then you want to activate Alembertion's effect on summon to add a Mathmech card from deck to hand. In this case, we're doing things as though we're in a vacuum, so pay no attention to the cards in our hand. We are searching the Circular that we need. We'll then activate Circular's effect to send our boy Nabla to the graveyard. We'll then activate Alembertion's effect, send itself to the graveyard, summon back out the Nabla. We'll then trigger Circular's effect, searching out the Superfactoral, activate Nabla's effect, tributing itself to summon out Diameter from deck. From here, you're going to go into a Splash Mage. And then you want to use the Diameter. Well, we'll do that in a bit. Let's use Splash Mage's effect first to summon back out the Circular. And then you can use either the circular or the diameter to make a link decoder. And then I'm going to go for the Heatsoul line, so I'll link with these two to summon out Heatsoul. Wisdom will be a good player, and we'll put the Heatsoul so that it points towards our diameter. We'll then trigger the effect of Link Decoder to summon itself back to our side of the field. Activate Heatsoul's effect, draw a card, summon out Dark Fluid, using all the monsters on our side of the field. Activate Dark Fluid's effect to send the Desavewurm to grave. And same as before, set Superfactoral, and then you have the aggregator for your opponent's turn. Let's look at some more 1.5 card combos. Like I mentioned in the deck discussion, if you open an Addition plus any other card that can be normal summoned, you have combo. So in this case, we'll have an Ash Blossom and an Addition as our two cards that we'll be using. So we'll be start off by normal summoning the Ash Blossom, and then you want to link it off for an Almiraj. This is exactly why we play an Almiraj over Link Spider. We have more hand traps than our opponent has Nibiru, so yeah, it just makes sense to me. We'll then activate Addition's effect, target the Almiraj to summon itself to our side of the field. From here, you're going into a Splash Mage using Almiraj and Addition. Once Splash Mage hits the field, you can use its effect to summon back out the Addition to your side of the field. From here, you want to link off into a Link Decoder. And then you want to go into Transcode Talker. Unfortunately, you can't go Heatsoul with this line. So you want to go Transcode Talker using Splash Mage and Link Decoder. And then in the grave, Link Decoder's effect is going to trigger to summon itself to the side of the field. When you summon it back, make sure you do not put it at the bottom of Transcode Talker. Put it to any other zone. Then you want to use Transcode Talker's effect to summon back out the Splash Mage. And then from here, you're linking off into a Terahertz, using the 3 monsters on our side of the field. From here, you can activate Terahertz effect to send the Desavewurm to the graveyard. And then we will pass turn during our opponent's turn, as we've been doing all the time. You have Aggregator. In case they have an ignition effect, you can stop it before they get a chance to activate it. Endboard is not as strong as the line that gets you Superfactorial, but this is something you'd only really do when your back's against the wall. Remember how I said Addition or Subtraction plus a level 4 is full combo? Well, I'm going to show you how exactly now. So we'll normal summon Firewall Guardian, and then we'll activate Subtraction's effect to summon itself. Even though Guardian has 100 attack, it doesn't matter. We just reduce it to 0 and it summons all the same. It doesn't have to be an increment of 1000. From here, 2/4's Alembertion. Summon itself to our side of the field. And then you'll be using Alembertion's effect when it hits the field to summon out. Not summon out, to grab yourself a Circular. So we're not activating Maxx C ourselves. We'll then search the Circular. Use its effect to send Nabla to the graveyard. Summon itself to our side of the field. Use Alembertion's effect to tribute itself to special summon out the Nabla from grave to our side of the field. Don't worry if you draw Nabla in your open hand, Alembertion can summon from hand too. So then we'll activate Circular's effect to search the equation. Normally if we didn't have the equation, we'd search Superfactoral. So it just happened that our hand was this way. We'll then activate Nabla's effect, will tribute itself to summon out the Diameter from deck. And from here you want to make a Splash Mage using the 2 monsters on your side of the field. Activate Splash Mage's effect to summon out a level 4 Cyberse. In this case, I think the safest bet would be to grab the fire in case our opponent has a Bastille. And then from here, you're going into a Link Decoder using the Subtraction. And then you're going into Transcode Talker using our 2 links. Grave effect of Link Decoder is going to activate, summon itself to a zone we're going to, not the zone that Transcode Talker is pointing to. Activate the effect of Transcode Talker, summon back the Splash Mage, and this is just business as usual. Straight into Dark Fluid. And by now I'm sure you guys know the drill. Dark Fluid will hit the field, can activate its effect to send Desavewurm to the grave, and then Mereologic Aggregator for opponent's turn. Set Superfactoral, And let's look at some more combos. Sigma plus any other level 4 is also a full combo. So you'd start off by activating Sigma's effect to summon itself to your side of the field, and then normal summon your level 4. From here, we're going into Alembertion, using our two boys. And from here, I'm sure you guys know by now what where we're going with it, so we can just skip ahead and just say, you know, what the end board's going to be like. While there are plenty of 2-card combos in this deck, the one that I want to show off is when you have Mathmech Circular plus an extension. So you'd activate Circular's effect to send Sigma to the graveyard. They're best friends, just let them be. And then you'll activate the grave effect of Sigma to summon itself back to your side of the field. You'll then activate Circular's effect. You want to add Superfactoral specifically from deck to your hand. You want to make an Alembertion using the 2 4s on our side of the field. Activate Alembertion's effect to add Mathmech Diameter from deck to hand. Diameter third wheels, but we accept him anyway. You activate Diameter's effect to summon back out the Circular to your side of the field. And then from here, you can make a Splash Mage. My brain hit a blank for a second there. Splash Mage hits the field. You'll want to activate Splash Mage's effect to summon back out the Diameter from grave. And then summon out a Link Decoder. From here, you want to go into a Transcode Talker using your Link Decoder and your Splash Mage. Activate the grave effect of the Link Decoder. Summon itself back to your side of the field. And then from here, there is a couple of things you want to do. Well, firstly, you want to activate the boys effect to summon back out the Splash Mage. And this is where your piece of extension comes in, because you want to summon it to your side of the field. From here, you can go into a Terahertz using the Transcode Talker, the Fire Boy, and the Light Boy. And then you can make a Heatsoul using the Splash Mage and the Link Decoder. Now we can activate Heatsoul's effect to get a draw, and then Dark Fluid's effect to set up our Spell Trap Negate. During our opponent's turn, we can still use Dark Fluid to send Mereologic Aggregator to the graveyard, set Superfactoral, and we got the best of both worlds for this combo. Smallwool kind of gets a rep as a card that is quite difficult to resolve, and now I could explain how the card works exactly, but I think it's easier just to show you all of the Smallwool lines. And your most basic of basic is when you open Smallwool with either a Nibiru or an Effect Failure. So the way this would work is that you would activate the Smallwool, reveal the Nibiru, reveal the Effect Failure, banish, and then you add Circular from your deck to hand. Alternatively, if you have any other light monster, you can activate Smallwool. Say you have a light Cyberse monster, you'd activate this, reveal the light Cyberse monster, reveal either the Effect Failure or the Nibiru from the deck, banish, add Circular to hand. Let me show you some more. Ash Blossom is also a Smallwool bridge. So you'd activate Smallwool, reveal the Ash Blossom in hand, banish the Effect Failure from deck, and add Circular. There are so many ways you can pair Smallwool in this deck. Another way you can find Circular using Smallwool is if you open up either an Addition or Subtraction. So we'll activate the Smallwool, we'll reveal the Fire Cyberse from our hand, banish the Dotscrapper, reveal the Dotscrapper from deck, banish, add Circular to hand. Let me show you some more. Parallel Exceed and Dotscrappers are also Smallwool bridges. If you draw one or the other, you can still find Circular. So in this case, we'll be activating Smallwool, we'll be revealing the Parallel Exceed in our hand, we'll then reveal Dotscrapper from our deck, banish, and then add Circular or any Cyberse monster you want from your deck to your hand. And then from here, it's just combo as always. So what happens when we have Smallwool and Circular, but we still want to resolve the Circular? Well, if you have another card in your hand that is either Dotscrapper or an Effect Veiler, you can use the Small World to find yourself a piece of extension. This is how you do this. You'd activate Small World, reveal the Dotscrapper, reveal an Ash Blossom from your deck, banish, add either Addition or Subtraction to your hand. Kinda cool, huh? Did you know that Maxx C is also a Small World bridge? Let me show you. We'll activate Small World, reveal Maxx C, banish the Dotscrapper, and you can then add a Cyberse from your deck to hand, and we're going for Circular. So yeah, you can do the same thing if you open Dotscrapper, just banish the Maxx C instead. So with that out the way, let's go back to the deck so we can just tie things together. Okay, with that, you're now ready to pick up Mathmech and start enjoying them on Master Rank. I would recommend doing so soon though. While the deck is not being hit by the December ban list, Master Duel has been experimenting with a limited Circular. I mean, just look at the custom ban list for the black and blue event. And with Malice looming around the corner, expect this deck to have about another 3 to 4 months ahead of it. So, that's more than enough time to enjoy them. So I'll see you in the next.